Tuftung AI is extensively used for interviews, hiring interviews, your admission interviews, interviews as a part of a project. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 decisions that you need to get it right to create high quality interview scenario. So the first decision that you have to get right is to create a right kind of scenario. Now you could create scenario right from here by typing in what you want, or you can go to the blank canvas here and just copy paste your job description, other files, maybe past transcript of the interviews, and that would help you create, fill the rubric on the side, and it creates a scenario. But the most popular way in which people create scenario is by connecting Tuftung AI with an MCP server. So you can go with our MCP server to ChatGPT, Claude, and other. So you can go to ChatGPT Claude from here and just put in the job description and details for it to create the scenario. So for example, here I wrote create an AI interviewer. I asked what questions it can ask, and then gave some example of rubric. So what it did was it read through the skill file that we have created, which is very detailed with all the good examples, and and then it listed like the plugins to create a particular kind of scenario, which this was a sales hiring scenario, and then it ended up giving me the scenario link that I can just copy paste and send it to Google Meet and other. So that creates your scenario in the most popular way. The third way, which also can be helpful, is that you can go to courses, and if you find any of the interview scenario here that you want to deploy, for example, this BizOps role, so you can just remix this scenario, which creates in your account, and you could use it. So that's on creating the scenario. The second decision that you have to get right is what platform to deploy this interview scenario to. And there are 2 popular ways. One is that you can just go to any of the agent that you create on Tuftung AI, for example, this one, and you could share this with the user. So you can just share a link. It can be one-time link, pre-check screen, and all those controls that you have. The good thing here is that it's very easy to use. Like once you create the scenario within our platform, you just share the link, and people would just put in their name and email, and you get the whole analysis, like who interviewed, what is the result. You can download it, you can query the data from ChatGPT, see Claude, and get the complete analysis. How this will look is, let me just copy this and open an incognito tab and put it here. So now I have to put name and email, which is compulsory. This also allows us that if you want multiple attempt on this particular email, we could do, or block certain emails, that is possible. So once they give permissions and other, it should just work. Now here is the trick. Because it requires permissions and other camera, at times this can be blocked in certain organization, right? And at the very least, it's a new kind of UX or things that the customer has to learn and adapt to. Although we try a lot that is very similar to Google Meet or Zoom. So the second and the most popular way in which interview gets conducted on Tuftung AI is via Google Meet platform. So you can just create a Meet scenario that I'll do here. And you can send the link here in Tuftung AI, and it will send an interviewer to that particular Meet. Now this is particularly useful to customers because this is no new UX for them. They know how to integrate, how to act on Google Meet, where is the mute button, where is the camera permission. Most of the time they already would have interacted, so they know that camera permission and all would already have been granted. So that's the sort of second way to deploy. So in some cases, you want to directly call a user, let's say it's a screening interview of where you want to collect very less amount of data. Then phone calling is also another way that you can just upload the list of files, and this will send a call on their phone number, and you receive all the details. The decision 3 is the access control. So if you are using our website to share the link, in that case, there are a couple of controls that we offer. The first, I'll suggest that you should make it a private scenario so that you can go to configure access and you can make it private here. So this, what it does is that restricts access to the users in that case. And then you can go to this edit scenario. Sorry. Once you do that, you go to this shared link here. And in that case, you can, of course, limit the use of the link. You can also restrict the timing, that do you want users to only get the link for 24 hours or 7 hours. So this is helpful because you don't want link to be widely distributed. So certain time restriction is helpful. Now, because you are asking for name and info anyway, you could also do is you could restrict access. So you can say that for any particular email, restrict the attempts to, let's say, only 3 attempts or 10 attempts. Why it's helpful is sometimes there could be network disruption. There could be case where someone just closed the browser and you did not receive the data. So you can allow second attempt. Now, why allow, in fact, is also because you want to reduce the operational burden. They can just do the second attempt, and as long as it's within the limit, it's not something that becomes easier over time. This interview, it is well and good. Now, you could also always restrict access to the analysis. This is the result in some way, so you don't want the user to see the result. So that's when you are conducting the interview on Tuftung AI website. If you are conducting on phone, then there is not much to worry about. If you are conducting on Google Meet, then there are two aspects here. If you want the agent to automatically join and nobody has to sort of give it access, then you need to make the meeting setting open. So I opened a Google Meet here, and if you see here, there is a security icon, and you go here, and at the end, you need to just make it open. So in that case, this allows anyone to join the Google Meet. The second way you could do is that you can connect your calendar, and let's say anything which has round one written, our agent could join once you connect. And you have to make sure that Tough Talk AI, this identity which our agent has, it has to be added in your Gmail so that it has permission to join. Same the case for Zoom and other. Now this you can make a lot more easier. So let's say you're using Calendly or cal.com and other for someone to book a slot. So in that case, you can create an written workflow and other that as soon as someone books a slot, you add this email in your calendar invite so that the agent has permission to right away join and not wait for candidate to let them in. So that's the third decision on the access, how you want to offer. The fourth one is a simple one, that how do you do the branding in case you are using the Tough AI website. So in that case, what you could do is that if you look closely in the case of the just generate URL, this is an embed URL. So any functionality that applies to this embed functionality of ours also applies here. So if you go to integrate page, which generates embed URL, and if you just click to show code here and to all the active parameters that we have, so like controlling appearance, button color, what to call start, all of this can be customized from here. For example, I can make it reddish color, or I can make it a green color. I can change the button colors and button icon. So all of these controls and branding, what it does in a simply is that it adds some query parameter here. For example, button icon equal to call, or background equal to green. So as long as you copy these icons and directly put it into that shared URL, that will get its own brand, that will customize its branding. So in this, you can just add ampersand and those things that we discussed. So that's the fourth part on the branding part. The fifth and the last one is recording and analysis. So anytime you create a scenario, we analyze it based on the rubrics that you decide. So the rubric is written here, and there is also processed rubric, which shows the weightage of each part. And as you write in Claude or edit with AI, it does this part of translation, that how exactly to measure. But if you want to go more precise, you should read through the rubric, make sure it's doing the thing that you want very faithfully. Now, other thing you could also do is you can go to the post session and you can enable multimodal analysis. So if you enable multimodal, then we also evaluate video and audio quality of the recording. So for example, let's say it's a sales call, so you want to analyze voice modulation, how confident someone is sounding, or let's say you want to also analyze the professional presence or the background. So those things are possible because of the video analysis feature that we offer. Similarly, there is option that you want a faster analysis or sort of standard, which takes some 30 seconds or so is fine to you. Then you can also extract certain data. So for example, who was the candidate? When did the interview? What was their some demographic if you want to collect? So that can directly go for reporting, compliance, or CRM in these cases. You could also post the interview is done, take an action. For example, you want the data to directly percolate into your LMS and other cases, you can define a custom function. More of this I'll just come in a bit. But anytime you do on Tough AI, you also need to record the session. So you, if you need video, the transcript is all the time recorded, but if you want video, then you can switch an auto recording so that you are recording all the time. Now, there is also a different kind of recording. So let's say if you switch the model to the Landmass, then you get a premium recording option, which is turbo recording. So what this does, it does the recording on the server side. So let's say even if someone closes a tab or there is a network disruption, you have some video to analyze. So if it's a critical interview, I'll recommend you to use turbo recording. This just adds an extra layer of reliability to your interview process. If you are using Google Meet and other, you don't have to worry about it, because Google Meet is a reliable infrastructure. They have server-side recording. So whatever you do the session, you get the recording as well. In the case of phone recording as well, we do server-side recording. So it comes out of the box, no settings required here. So these are the 5 things that I wanted to cover. One bonus thing I'll say is that anything that you are seeing in the UI can also be done from API or MCP. So anytime a scenario happens or an interview happens, you can get a webhook notification that someone is doing an interview is complete. You can listen to it. You can analyze all the session through API and download through CSV and other process as well. Similarly, you can conduct all of this via MCP also. So you can give a list of URL to ChatGPT and it can send an invite. It can add those people into Google Meet calendar or Claude, and then you can do the analysis. They have access to our APIs to do that. So Claude, ChatGPT, all of these provides a really good way to conduct interviews as well. Same if you are using the API layers, that works as well. So these are the things that I wanted to cover. If you have any question, let me know in comments. Thank you so much.